What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing another NBA discussion video, and in today's video I'm actually going to be talking about should the Golden State Warriors trade Andrew Wiggins or not. So, for those of you who didn't know, the Warriors actually acquired Andrew Wiggins, I believe, on the trade deadline, where they actually traded away D'Angelo Russell to the Minnesota Timberwolves, where they received Andrew Wiggins back in return. And let's just say a lot of Golden State fans actually were relatively excited about this because I'd say he's definitely a lot better than Harrison Barnes, but he kind of plays that similar role to what Harrison Barnes did with the Golden State Warriors in, his little tenure with them. And I think that's what's most interesting about this player is it looks like Golden State are trying to recreate what they had when they were playing LeBron and the Cavaliers. And then, yeah, I think how they're going about it, they're actually doing it in a pretty decent way. I mean, they've kept Draymond Green, they've kept Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and now they've kind of replaced Harrison Barnes with Andrew Wiggins, who's just like a max deal kind of version. And now they've got actually a couple of young players here and there as well, like Eric Pascal. Even Marquise Chris has actually been doing pretty good, but knowing this, with all this kind of been happening and Wiggins actually being relatively kind of decent for the Warriors since he's been there, this hasn't stopped the rumors of them potentially wanting to trade him and then a lot of teams actually being interested in him. Now, it's been not a secret really anymore that it looks like the Golden State Warriors, do look to kind of intend to keep him going forward in the 2020 to 2021 NBA season, but that doesn't really answer the question on whether or not they should actually trade him and, yeah, what teams are actually interested in him. So, first of all, I'm actually going to be going in really some of the teams that I think may be interested in him. The first one, which was actually kind of rumored at the time, was actually going to be the Miami Heat. There was actually a lot of people saying that the Miami Heat should actually try and trade for him. And there was even a rumor at the time that they were potentially interested in him, with pretty much a lot of people saying he does actually have that really kind of way the Miami Heat do like to play. I mean, a lot of people actually like to knock off Andrew Wiggins' defense, and the truth behind his defense is there's, nothing wrong with him being a, defender on his good nights. For example, on his good nights, he's a very, very good defender. I mean, he's very lanky, he's very versatile. On his best nights, he's quick on his feet. But then similar to like Hassan Whiteside, on his bad nights, he isn't a good defender at all. And, he can be really bad on his feet, just not exactly that good. And he won't use his lankiness and kind of athleticness to his ability. But that's kind of why people were saying, how cool would it be if he actually ended up on the Miami Heat, who prioritize defense and don't just look at three-point shooting, but also the mid-range as well, which is what Andrew Wiggins does like to, specialize at, etc. And I think it would have been a very, very interesting idea. For example, Eric Spoelstra and really the whole entire Miami Heat coaching staff and, just the whole entire team really seem to get the best defense possible out of their players, and Eric Spoelstra, etc., and the other coaches always like to, they've always got new techniques to kind of implement in with these players, and we've seen, not exactly great defenders improve so much. Like, I remember LeBron James, some people were pretty critical on how he defended throughout his NBA career, and then when he got to the Miami Heat, there was even a season where he was actually, in contention to be the defensive player of the year, and he's just one example of a player that picked up his defense extensively while being at the Miami Heat. And that's what some people are saying Andrew Wiggins could do. He could actually learn how to use his lankiness and his ability to be kind of quick on his feet, just not, certain times, but all the times. And that's why I think it would be a pretty interesting idea if they were going to look to trade for him. But, of course, they're probably not going to. It looks like they're going to be keen on Victor Oladipo, who I think would be actually a pretty good player for the Miami Heat. A new video on that may actually be coming out very soon, as well as I, talk about. It looks like he is going to be number one on their trade boards and who they kind of look to potentially want to target. But yeah, I do think Andrew Wiggins would be kind of an interesting player for the Miami Heat to go for. Now, another team which I think could actually potentially look to get Andrew Wiggins, and that could actually be the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, for those of you who didn't know, the Cavaliers actually drafted Andrew Wiggins back in 2014, but traded him, I don't think on draft night, I think it was actually a couple days later where they traded him for Kevin Love. There was actually a rumor where Kevin Love and Andrew Wiggins deal could actually get done again. For example, the Golden State Warriors like to play that small ball kind of lineup. what about maybe even playing Kevin Love at center? I know Kevin Love's not the greatest defender ever, but imagine that, you're adding another very, very versatile center, more power forward who can shoot the 3-ball, not just, and can get very, very big amount of rebounds. And look, Kevin Love's not going to be the greatest defender, but you can make up for that with other aspects across the court. For example, Draymond Green, great defender at power forward. Klay Thompson, great defender at shooting guard. And I'm guessing they would probably go after a very good defensive small forward as well. Then it would kind of limit out Kevin Love's bad defense at center and would kind of be an interesting option. Then obviously this would give the Cleveland Cavaliers now a very young small forward in Andrew Wiggins that does still have relatively some potential left in him and could still be salvaged. And obviously, yeah, the contracts definitely match up. And again, it could just be a different scenery for both players. And we've heard this trade be rumored so many different times, and the fact that Andrew Wiggins could get traded for Kevin Love again is absolutely insane. But in my opinion, I don't think the Cavaliers should do it. I think they should maybe just go and draft the small forward and look to trade maybe Kevin Love. That's what I think they should definitely do. And who knows, maybe they could look for some different players at Golden State besides, besides maybe Andrew Wiggins. Maybe they could even go after Draymond Green. So I think he would be a pretty interesting player the Cavs could get. Obviously, the Cavs need defense. He'd be a nice defending power forward and playmaking. So he could play that, point forward type of role that he actually does play a little bit at Golden State. And, I've never liked Draymond Green really as a player, but being a Cavs fan, I actually kind of like the aspect of maybe even bringing in a, point forward like Draymond Green who can bring the defense and, playmaking as well. It's not like they really need shooting. I mean, Cedi Osman's like 40% from 3. Colin Sexton's like 40% from 3. I think they're both like 38% is the realistic numbers. And then Garland's like 36% in his rookie seasons, which is pretty good. And then they've got some really nice 3-point shooting off the bench. So it's not like that would be a problem. I kind of like that Draymond Green trade maybe too. The Cavaliers for Kevin Love. But of course, I don't think they're going to do Andrew Wiggins. And honestly, to answer really the question that I brought up at the start of the video, look, there may be a couple other teams that would be interested in Andrew Wiggins. Of course, the Chicago Bulls have needed a small forward desperately for so long now. I mean, Otto Porter Jr. has missed like the whole year. Zach LaVine's been playing small forward, and I definitely think he would be a very interesting player they could bring in. And look, they could almost trade Lauri Markkanen to the Golden State Warriors. As there's been a rumor that Markkanen doesn't like it at the Bulls. He may request a trade. The Bulls could just potentially trade him. Of course, I definitely think that could be a player they could trade for Andrew Wiggins. And then, yeah, it would resolve the very big lack at small forward that the obviously Chicago Bulls do have. And then, they can maybe give up, I don't really know what it'd be. I think a pretty interesting deal would actually be maybe Lauri Markkanen and Chris Dunn for Andrew Wiggins and a couple of second-round picks. I think that would be a pretty interesting deal. The Golden State Warriors can now get that, I'd say, small ball type of center as well. Even though, again, Lauri Markkanen's he's not a small power forward. He's 213, aka 6'11", but the way he plays would be a small ball center, as he's not a great rebounder or anything like that. So again, I could kind of see it happening, and then, Chris Dunn could be the nice backup point guard that the Golden State Warriors need, but I don't really see this happening, and there's been no rumors at all that the Chicago Bulls are interested in Andrew Wiggins, but of course, they do need a small forward, and maybe if they can't get a small forward in the draft, he would actually be a decent option. But again, to answer the question, I actually don't think the Golden State Warriors are going to trade Andrew Wiggins. I think they're going to be pretty content on trying to keep him. Yes, he's got a relatively big contract, but he kind of plays in a similar aspect and a similar role to how they rolled out with the lineup of Harrison Barnes in 2015 and 16 with, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. So I definitely feel like they're not going to be looking to trade Andrew Wiggins. But of course, really anything can happen in the NBA. They could just decide to change their mind. But that's a pretty nice defensive team if they can get Andrew Wiggins to play defense consistently. Then you got Steph Curry, it's about an average defender at point guard. You got Klay Thompson, who's above average defender at shooting guard. And then Andrew Wiggins, who is pretty average, but on a good night can actually be a very good defender at small forward. And then Draymond Green at power forward. And then, Marquise Chris is alright at center. But again, it depends what Andrew Wiggins are really getting. Like, can the Warriors bring the best Andrew Wiggins out, or are we just going to get a very inconsistent Andrew Wiggins like we got at Minnesota? Like, I mean, Andrew Wiggins is 25 now. He should be entering into his prime. So, again, I'm definitely very interested to see what's going to happen, and I'm really excited. Let's just hope Wiggins can maybe improve his three-point accuracy and, maybe end up a player like Harrison Barnes, who's going to be that small forward who just plays a role of decent defense, and then, a good mid-range threat who eventually maybe, improves his three-point accuracy. Again, I definitely think we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But, of course, I don't think they should trade him for the time being, and I don't think they are going to trade him. But anyone, to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest NBA content and NBA news. Don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on this? Do you guys think it'd be a good idea by the Golden State Warriors to trade Andrew Wiggins? Do you guys think they shouldn't, or do you guys think they should? Again, I definitely would really like to know your thoughts and opinions on this all down below. But also don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/Loan channel. Links for them will all be in the description down below, and definitely go check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for that will all be in the description down below for all the latest like NBA content, just sports related content in general on there. So definitely go check that out. Links for that will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.